True School Sports Empire. This is the aftermath of Inoue getting out the canvas to whoop Louis Neri. You know, we're talking about everything, right? So one thing I really wanted to touch on is the fact that, you know, seemingly after the fight, after the Neri fight, after he got up off the canvas and showed immense heart and composure and fortitude, he everyone from every weight class are in and around him is calling him out. And I kind of want to just touch on each and every person I saw calling him out and what I think about those particular fights, because it was a lot of people. So we'll go back to screen share. You guys feel free to give your thoughts down below because your thoughts would definitely be valued on some of these matchups. So we talked about that, right? And then we'll get back to Neri in a second. But look, the first person, so the first person that spoke about Inoue, and this is tweeted right after the fight, was my main man, 50 Grand. He's definitely a friend of the show. He's definitely a friend of the program. I love Bruce Carrington. He's a great person, fantastic fighter. He's ranked highly in the WBO. He's not as far from fighting for a world title as some of you guys think. So I do think Inoue versus Carrington could happen sooner than a lot of you guys think. But he just tweeted out one simple word, 4 simple letters. He stated, and I quote, food. He said Inoue is food. So Bruce Shoo Carrington saw things in the Louis Neri fight that he feels he could exploit, and he feels like Inoue's food. Now, I've talked to Bruce Carrington many times about this fight. We did 2 interviews on camera about Inoue, and I've talked to him one time off camera about Inoue. So I know exactly how he feels. I know exactly why he feels he can win the fight. And I do think that at some point, this Bruce Carrington versus Inoue is going to wind up being one of the biggest fights in the featherweight division. But I don't think that time is going to be in 2024. And I don't even think it'll be in the first 2 quarters of 2025. That fight's not happening till, I think, like at the earliest, the 3rd or 4th quarter of next year. Inoue versus Carrington at Madison Square Garden, I think would be one of the greatest events boxing's produced in America in a long time, just because, you know, Madison Square Garden it's one of those venues that whether you're a boxer, whether you're a hockey player, whether you're an entertainer, it's just one of those places that you always want to participate at. You know, you want to exhibit your skills at. And so Inoue versus Bruce Carrington at the world's most famous arena. Mind you, Bruce Carrington is from Brooklyn. He's got a big growing fan base in New York. He's becoming a draw there. He's going to be the co-main event on Xander Zayas' next fight, June 8th during Puerto Rican Day weekend. So I'm just saying, I've talked about this fight enough, but I just wanted to highlight again that Bruce Carrington continues to double, triple, and quadruple down on the fact that he feels Inoue is food, which I think is a great fight. Carrington has shown himself to be a aggressive counterpuncher, a guy that likes to operate from outside and mid-range. So I think when you mesh their styles together, that fight could be an explosive fight in a great venue. So I won't speak too much more about Bruce Carrington, but that's what he said, right? Now, what I will speak a lot about, because this fight to me, this potential matchup to me is a big intrigue to me, because this is a guy that, as many of you guys know, I've went ahead and I had lots of back and forth with him leading into his last fight, as many of you guys know, going into the Oderbek Komatov fight. I had to home myself. I had to eat a lot of crow because he ultimately proved that he was a lot better than myself, and a lot of people thought he was. And that guy is none other than WBA featherweight champion, Camden, New Jersey's very own Raymond Ford. You know, he watches the channel sometimes. He's been to these lives, so maybe he'll pop in while I'm talking. But here's what he said. He stated the following, and I quote, "I see people really want to see me fight Inoue. Bring them M's out and we can talk business." So he's telling you straight up. He's saying, look, man, I see you paying Neri. I see you paying all these guys. Well, if you want to fight me for my belt, you got to pay up. And I think he's right. I think he's absolutely right. And I even told him, as you guys can see right there, I even told him before, I said, look, you got a belt there and you just put on what I think is the fight of the year. It's a great matchup. Start calling for it more, and they might just bring them M's out. So look, let's break that, even if it is a pipe dream and even if it's very unrealistic, because Raymond Ford doesn't have much longer at 126, and we don't exactly know when Inoue's coming up to 126. One of the fine gentlemen in the chat earlier mentioned that Inoue is going to be moving up later this year if he fights Sam Goodman and takes care of business with him. But we don't know that until we actually see for ourselves. So the timeline's got to match up, and all parties involved got to be willing to make the fight quickly and swiftly. Because, like I said, Ford, I've seen Ford in person. Raymond Ford is he's very big for the weight class, and I would like that fight because look at Raymond Ford and what he's shown in his last fight, and not just in his last fight, but throughout his boxing career. Throughout his boxing career, both from the amateurs and the pros, Raymond Ford has shown really good boxing skills from the outside. He's shown the ability to be slick. But the Komatov fight showed us that he can fight a guy who is a puncher or a boxer puncher, so to speak, and he can get in the pocket. He can smother him. He can neutralize him, and he can bully the bully, right? Now, obviously, this isn't that kind of scenario because Inoue is not a bigger guy like Komatov. He's actually a smaller guy coming up in weight. So I like that fight because I think Raymond Ford has the physical strength to maybe offset some things. And unlike a lot of the guys Inoue has fought, like, and I'm not trying to put nobody down, but like you look at Tapalas, you look at Neri, you look at even a guy like, I'll say Tapalas and Neri. Those two guys in particular, those are southpaws that are more so like straight line fighters. Those are guys that sometimes will abandon their defense for offense. Raymond Ford is not like that. Raymond Ford, I think what he's shown, and I have to give him his due, he's shown the ability to know who the hell is in front of him. There's been fights like when he fought Jesse Magdaleno, he understood he had to box. When he fought Oda Komatov, he understood he had to smother him. So his boxing IQ is very high. It's good. And he is a champion, so he is in one of those power positions to make the fight. And I wouldn't mind seeing it. I would if Inoue is going to be up there sooner than later, then this would actually be one of the top fights on my list. Because think about some of the criticisms that Inoue gets on a regular basis. They say Naoya Inoue doesn't fight Americans. If you want to be more specific, they say Naoya Inoue doesn't fight the Black American fighters, right? Well, what is Raymond Ford? He's a Black American fighter, undefeated Black American fighter, world champion, a guy that just put on the most exciting fight of the year. I feel I was there. I've gone to a lot of fights in my lifetime. It was one of the best fights of the year against Komatov. It'll be one of those fights that when I'm in my 50s, when I'm in my 60s, I'll still be talking about it because that's how good it was, So yeah, compensate him accordingly. Let the kid, make some money for himself, and let him get the opportunity to test his skills against arguably the best fighter in the world. Why not? Obviously Raymond Ford has to fight Nick Ball next. Nick Ball is not going to be no slouch. He could very well, lose. You never know. Boxing, things change fight by fight. I don't think he'll lose to Nick Ball, but I'm saying things change fight by fight. So we'll see how it goes, man. We'll definitely see how it goes. But to me, when you talk about the potential matchups at 126, I would say one of the top 3 matchups, even if it is maybe a bit of a pipe dream, maybe if it is a bit unrealistic just because of the timelines and everything, I would love to see Inoue versus Raymond Ford. Why not? Why not? We saw that an awkward southpaw like Neri could drop him, and we saw him make an adjustment. But like I said, Ford brings different attributes to the table. Ford can box. Ford can fight on the inside. Ford is physically strong. Ford is defensively sound. I would like to see. I think that's a very interesting fight. I feel like that fight would wind up being like, as far as how it would play out, I feel like that fight would be like an aggressive chess match. I feel like you'd see Inoue trying to get that lead foot leverage on Raymond Ford, and you'd see him throwing really aggressive combinations, but then you would see Ford trying to counter him in an aggressive fashion. And then I feel like once Inoue does get his range down, then Raymond Ford have to either adjust or make the conscious decision to kind of do what he did in the Komatov fight and fight like the bigger man. Make it be a case where a good big man beats a good little man. So I like that fight a lot, and just wanted to get my thoughts on it. So you have that fight. And then last but not least, so you've had guys from 122 calling out Inoue. You had Sam Goodman, who's a top contender at 122, calling out Inoue. You had Raymond Ford talking about fighting Inoue, right? Actually, hold on. Before I even get to Oshaki Foster, let me address one fighter in particular. Before we even get to Oshaki Foster at 130, because his manager or whatever said that they would be willing to take that fight if Inoue were to come to 130. But let me address this one fighter before I even get to Oshaki, because he's been a very popular name on this channel as of late. But a guy that made his intentions known that he wants to fight Inoue next is none other than the IBF champion, Venado Lopez. And then here's what he said. He said, and I quote, "Here I wait calmly for Naoya Inoue when he rises to 126. So Venado Lopez, the IBF. So you've had the WBA champion saying he wants to fight Inoue. Now the IBF champion is saying he wants to fight Inoue. Let me show you guys some more. Let me show you guys some more when it comes to Venado Lopez, and then I'll break that fight down. Hold on. Let me show you some more. Hold on. And make sure you guys leave your comments down below, super chat, all that good stuff. As soon as I get through this segment, I'm gonna address everyone's comments. So if you're not getting your comments read right now, don't get anxious, don't get mad. I gotta get my points off before I get distracted or sidetracked. But where is that picture? There was a picture I saw yesterday here on Instagram of I think it was his manager and Venado. They were calling out Inoue. Now I can't find it. I could have swore. Basically, there was a picture of Venado and his two managers, or one of his managers, calling out Inoue, saying that they're ready for the fight. So look, as far as Venado versus Inoue, I think that's an amazing fight as well. You know, Venado Lopez is physically strong for the weight class. Venado Lopez is, I think, a very athletic fighter. He's a gunslinger. I think that would be like probably one of the ultimate style clashes because, like I always say, Japanese boxing style and Mexican boxing style is very different. You know, the Japanese fighters are very regimented, very disciplined. It's a lot of straight punches, a lot of jabs, a lot of straight right hands and left hooks. You don't really see a lot of uppercuts from Japanese fighters, and you don't see many Japanese fighters throw overhand rights. Their punch selection is normally about 3 punches and feints and just very disciplined by the book, right? But they're very good at that style, so don't get it twisted. Venado Lopez didn't have a lot of amateur fights, so he boxed with his chin up. He's throwing punches from the ground, from the ceiling, from way out here, and it looks a certain way, but that style works for him. So in a lesser sense, he's kind of like the Navarrete of this current featherweight division, you know, just as far as his style. I don't think he's quite as good as Navarrete, but I'm saying it's the same principle. So that fight would be fireworks. I think that's a great fight for the division. That would be Inoue's chance, I feel, to really and truthfully like get adjusted to fighting a strong, full-fledged featherweight, you know. But of course, and I'd be dishonest and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. As much as Venado Lopez may want an Inoue fight, because everyone around this weight class wants an Inoue fight. It's the biggest money-making fight you can make around these weights, and it might just be one of the biggest money-making fights you can make in any weight class of boxing, because that's the kind of level of star power he's graduated to. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Venado Lopez better focus on this fight before he not make his fight. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, he's got a fight coming up in August, a defense coming up against Angelo Leo, the former champion at 122. And if he continues to overlook Angelo Leo, which, you know, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know what, you know, I just keep seeing him talk about Inoue, but he's fighting Angelo next. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. But if he's not careful, you may lose your position as IBF champion quickly and swiftly. So I'm just saying, as the great Terrence Crawford said, focus on your fight before you not make your fight. But yeah, he wants to fight Inoue. If the cards line up, it obviously be a great fight for the featherweight division, as many of these matchups are great fights for the featherweight division. All right, last fighter, the last fighter I will address that called out Inoue after the fight is at 130. So you had Sam Goodman from 122 hop in the ring, asking for the Inoue fight. He's probably going to get it. You've had Raymond Ford and Venado Lopez, two of the champions, call out Inoue directly after the fight, right? And then now at 130, 2 weight classes above, Oshaki Foster and his team have put their petition in to fight Inoue. So shout out to my guy Hans Demestode. He posted this picture on Twitter, and it said the Tank fight would obviously be great, but I'd love to see Inoue fight Oshaki Foster at 130. And so this guy, Boxing Advisor, this is his manager, and he says that we would not hesitate to sign for this fight. So the WBC champion at 130 has put his petition to fight Inoue as well. And obviously, look, you know, Inoue turned pro at 108 pounds. So the fact that you got guys as high as 130 calling him out, that just kind of shows you the level he's operating at right now. Oshaki Foster is a very good fighter. Oshaki Foster, I think the best thing about him is his natural fighting instincts. Like, he has a great feel for the fight. He knows when to fight at certain ranges. He'd obviously be a naturally bigger guy, but he'd be a naturally bigger guy with top-notch boxing skills, who has shown in his fights. Like, look at what he did against Rocky Hernandez. He's shown that he has that grit and that dog in him. So boxing skills, championship pedigree, grit. If Inoue were to somehow want to move that high, obviously, if Big Shock is there, then I'm not going to downplay a potential fight between those two, because obviously O'Shaquie Foster brings a lot to the table. Inoue, right now, guys, it's Inoue versus everybody. That's where we're at in boxing. It's Inoue versus everybody. So just wanted to speak my piece on that, because there's so many matchups that could potentially be happening. So let me go ahead and acknowledge some of the fine folks that are going ahead and hold on. We have a lot of people that are here. So my bad. Let me go ahead and we got a lot of people here. We got a lot of comments. I see. Is that YSM? Is that Jamil? Hold on. Let me scroll down. That is Jamil. Shout out to Jamil. YSM. Listen, guys. I give respect where respect is due. Please do yourself a favor and go ahead and subscribe to my guy, Jamil Parker, YSN Sports Media. He's got his hand right on the pulse of the boxing scene in Philadelphia. So you like Boots, you like Greg Hackett, you like Stephen Fulton, you like Atif Overton, and everything else in between over there. That is your guy. Shout out to him. He says make the fight, and I think he's referring to the fact that Inoue versus Raymond. Look, I'd love to see the fight. I know that his coach Reg also was on record in saying that they would like that fight as well. So why not, man? Everyone says, oh, Inoue doesn't fight no Black American. So there you go. There'd be one right there for him, an undefeated Black American. Jitterbug says Ford's best attribute is probably his durability, but I don't think Inoue will pepper him with weak shots like Komatov. Yeah, man. Older Komatov, him switching I don't want to get too much into that fight, but him switching trainers was the dumbest thing he ever did, because then he changed up his style. Pissed me off. But I think Inoue would probably, I don't know. I think if he fought a guy like Ford, Inoue would try to box a little more than you think. I think Ford being so big and strong would it'd be a situation where I think Inoue wouldn't be sitting on the shots as much as you think, at least early on. You know what I'm saying? The speed of Ford would give Inoue problems, but they ain't fought nobody with each other's hand speed. Let me think about that. Has Inoue fought anybody with Raymond Ford's hand speed? If he did, you'd have to go probably all the way back down to like 108 pounds, probably, when he fought like maybe like a Ryoichi Taguchi or something like that. But yeah, even then, nah, I think you got a point. You're right. Neri dropping Inoue is going to make him more dangerous. I don't think he's going to get hurt again. He levels up in adversity. For me, I reserve all judgments of what I think he's going to do until I really do think featherweight is going to be a whole different animal, honestly. He's a great fighter. Skills pay the bills, but there's a lot of like skilled big fighters up there. Like, it's not just that he's fighting big, strong, durable guys with leaky defense. It's like he's fighting guys that are skilled and they're bigger than him. So that's the exciting thing to make. That's the intrigue it all for me, Philippines 413 says, love you, dog. Inoue's in a different class. Come on, BT. We haven't forgot when he traveled to Japan how much he was praising Inoue. The monster is a different animal. Too fast. I still praise Inoue. What do you mean? I still praise Inoue. Inoue is one of my favorite fighters. And he will remain one of my favorite fighters. But I mean, like I said, 126. This is a guy that turned pro 108. I think 126. The crop of guys there. There's enough skilled big guys there for him to, not leave unscathed. That's all I'm saying. But great fighter. Definitely good enough to beat anybody at featherweight. Tomo Otami said, hey, BT, Mr. Ohashi already said they're in talks with Rafael Espinoza for their first fight in featherweight versus Bob Arum via Top Ring. Did he really? I'm gonna, you know what? Now that you said that, I'm gonna reach out to Rafael Espinoza's manager. In fact, I'm gonna do that shit right now while I'm talking to you, because I know his manager personally. So I'm gonna go ahead and reach out to my boy. I think his name is Roberto. Is his name Roberto? because I met Espinoza's manager when he fought Robesi, and we became cool. So I'm gonna ask him myself, and I'm gonna say, look, man, let me get some confirmation on that. Let me see, Roberto. I heard that. Is his name Roberto? Yeah, it's Roberto. Roberto, give me 1 second, guys. Look, I'm typing it right now just so you guys can see. Roberto, I heard that Top Rank is negotiating the Inoue versus Espinoza fight for his first world title fight at 126. Is this true? Because I don't believe it. So there you go. I just reached out to Espinoza's manager. If he messages me back while we're on this live, I'll show you the damn DM myself. Anyway, good to see everybody here. So many comments, man. I don't want to skip over nobody's comments because there's a lot of people adding like good value and stuff, and there's still points I want to get to. So just bear with me, guys. My man Supporter Boxing says we've never seen Inoue handle the pressure. And that's what I'm saying. Bigger, stronger guys, good pressure fighters. I feel like it's going to be different. He's going to have to show something a little different at 126. So, BT, I just watched Eddie Hearn mention Inoue versus Bam as well. The irony is Eddie Hearn said in the past, Inoue won't be a global star yet. Now here he is trying to. Well, because look, like Bam, Eddie Hearn can't really make no crazy money with Bam. Bam is a good fighter, but one thing about boxing is being a talented, great fighter doesn't always mean you're a box office draw. So Bam is a talented fighter, but Bam Rodriguez fought at the what's the name of that place? What was the name of that arena? There's an arena in San Antonio that only has like 300 seats. Like Bam's not even fighting at big arenas in his hometown. So my thing is this: there is no fight where Eddie will make anywhere, not even a fraction of what he can make for a Bam Inoue fight. So. He's not wrong for that. Espinoza will be a tune-up for Inoue? You think so? We'll have to go ahead and see. I don't know about that one, champ, but that's a good fight. But Ford will get outboxed like Steve. So a lot of you guys are passionate about that Raymond Ford fight. So just looking at the comments, I think we'll throw Ford's name in the hat as one of the top fights I want to see. That is definitely not happening. Absolutely not. Brandon Figueroa is not going to do anything with Inoue. There's pressure fighters at 126 that I think could give Inoue problems, like guys like Venado Lopez, guys like Angelo Leo. I think those guys could have some things they could do with Inoue. Brandon Figueroa, no. That boy smothers his punches. He smothers his punches. He smothers his punches way too much. Good fighter, I don't think he's got much for Inoue, but that's just me. I know he stopped Lewis Neri, but styles make fights. You can't always use triangle theories. But look, he's worthy of the fight. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you guys let me know. Let's take a poll. Let's take a poll from the 94 people here. Every one of their mother wants to fight Inoue at 126, 122, and 130. You guys let me know just in the chat. What's the one fight from 122 to 126 or even 130 that you guys want to see Naoya Inoue in? Drop that fighter's name who you want to see Inoue fight at 126 or 122 or 130. For me, you guys already know what it is with me. I want to see Inoue fight Angelo Leo, but we can't even talk about that being realistic unless Angelo beats Venado, which is not going to be easy. So, but let me know. There's Espinoza, there's Venado, there's Angelo, there's Bruce Carrington, there's Raymond Ford, Someone said, Shushu Carrington. You got Shushu Carrington. You got, Ruben Villa, Anyway, I've kind of got through that part. I've gotten through that part of the live where we talk about Inoue versus everybody.